Welcome back to the American Tradition. I'm pastor, farmer, localist, essayist, Jeremy Mack. I apologize for my absence over the last few weeks. Neither my sinuses nor my sense of decency would allow me to make a video for you all. What a transition it has been between presidents. Let's jump into our weekly news roundup. Opening up, since the Capitol Hill riot, the flaming wick of populism seemed to be snuffed out in America, but leave it to our globalist overlords to significantly overplay their hand. Let's start out with our Follow the Science segment. Following the science, then we will head over to CNN Health. Double masking for COVID-19 protection, a trend with a purpose. Double masking. No need to follow the science of negligible asymptomatic spread demonstrated by countless actual scientists. Oh no. The general public, while noticing no decline in spread while wearing a mask, is now encouraged to double or even triple mask. Truth is stranger than fiction these days. Second up today, Florida man. First of all, I want to show you before we actually go to our link. So the difference between, say, a US media outlet and a European media outlet. So feds charge South Florida man in election conspiracy. Over here, social media influencer charged with election interference. But then we can go here to the independent.co.uk, which tells you it is a British tabloid, The Independent. Twitter troll accused of telling people they could cast their ballot by, let's go ahead and click on that, and we'll tell us they could cast our ballot by how. Well, Twitter troll is accused of telling people they could cast their ballot by texting. All right, texting. It turns out that the right may not be too good at science, but we sure do meme good. We meme so well, in fact, that people are going to jail for it. A Florida man is charged for creating a meme that told Democrats that if they didn't want to stand in line, they could text Hillary to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was just a number that was given up. It actually did go to the Hillary campaign, and they would respond back that this meme had not been created by them. But this behooves us to ask, is it not true that the voter at some point needs to know how to vote? Perhaps people that believe things like this should not be in charge of picking the free leader of the world, or the leader of the free will, excuse me. But we know how to fix this problem, don't we, Democrat friends? Just mail them a ballot and then send someone over to help fill them out. That'll fix democracy, I'm sure. But I digress. So I wanted to get something straight in my own mind. So Hillary can hire a foreign agent, former MI6 agent Christopher Steele, to gather information against her political opponents from literal Russians. But the information, the false information, they can put that into a dossier and give it to the FBI. The FBI can then use it to launch an investigation into a sitting president by leaking it to the press, and then using the press story about the dossier as confirmation of the dossier, essentially lying multiple times to the FISA court to get warrants to spy on their political opponents. But none of that is as dangerous as a meme maker from Florida who is now facing 10 years in prison. Comey and Hillary catch up on their favorite Netflix shows in the Hamptons, while this is considered interfering in an election. Well, we'll move on from there, as that may be one of the most insane stories I have ever read in my life. Moving on to our fatal conceit portion of our show, John Kerry suggests laid off oil and gas workers learn to build solar panels. John Kerry's smug face is back in our faces again on a regular basis as the climate envoy for the Biden administration. After the Keystone Pipeline was killed earlier this week by the president via an executive order, Kerry was asked about all the workers who had lost their jobs. What would become of them? His answer was enlightening, and I quote, "The President of the United States has expressed in every comment he has made about climate the need to grow the new jobs that pay better, that are cleaner, Kerry said. What President Biden wants to do is make sure those folks have better choices, that they have alternatives, that they can be the people that go to work to make solar panels. Now, I bet the workers in North Dakota were unaware that their choices of work were bad choices and that they needed their betters to tell them what better choices were. Well, on behalf of the American underclass in the U.S., I'd like to thank Lord Kerry of the Heinz dynasty. For those of you who do not know, he married the daughter of the Heinz dynasty, the people that bring you Heinz ketchup. We would like to thank Lord Kerry of the Heinz dynasty for being so kind and benevolent so as to stoop down and tell us what choices were good and what choices were bad. Build solar panels, he says. Now, I suspect this will become the new learn to code. Mark my words, in the future, you will get a permanent ban on Twitter for using it. So, for instance, if a news reporter loses their job for doing bad work and you tell them, as you used to tell them to learn to code, now you can tell them to just build some solar panels. Or perhaps the latest politician that gets run out of office for an affair with an intern or some type of sexual tryst or embezzlement of some kind. You could just tell them on Twitter that they should just learn to build solar panels. I'm sure that will go over well with the ruling class. Let's give a quick economic lesson, however. Solar panel jobs won't pay as well as oil jobs do. Why? Because when you build solar panels, you go to a factory and you stand basically in one place and you punch a button or you pull a lever or you do something along those lines. It's a very low risk job. However, oil jobs that build pipelines and move heavy equipment around, and those who are responsible for that get paid more because of the risks that are involved. Also, solar panel factories aren't tents that can be thrown up somewhere where you'd like one. It takes years to build infrastructure and lure solar panel manufacturers to those areas. So not only are they not going to get a higher paying job than the current one they have now, but it will likely be years if they are ever able to lure solar panel makers into the US. As of right now, most solar panels are cheaply made in China, and it will be very difficult for American workers to produce them at a price in which they can compete with Chinese labor. All right, quick economic lesson for those of you in need of one. I think the good climate envoy, the former presidential candidate, John Kerry, certainly needs one himself. All right, let's run over to our bee sting of the week. Bee sting of the week. Remember, China is now using anal swabs to check for COVID-19. So the bee comes out with China develops more protective anal mask. First time I saw it, I laughed out loud. Let's close today then with our fatal conceit section. I'm sorry, not our fatal conceit section. John Kerry is our fatal conceit section. Let's close with our GameStop fiasco. The GameStop fiasco. So yesterday, day before, you've seen a lot of things go on around GameStop, and especially Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, and Schwab shutting down retail investors from being able to purchase GameStop shares because of what's called stock shorting. Stock shorting. So the hedge funds had bought shorts against the stock, and those shorts then were bets placed that the stock would go lower when a group of Reddit trolls saw that these hedge funds were, in a sense, 140% short. I don't even know how you do that. 140% short. They decided that they would make some money at it. And so they began to have other retail investors to purchase GameStop stocks. Now, this caused hedge funds, those hedge funds that were betting against GameStop, to lose millions and millions of dollars. Well, I learned something about Robinhood. I don't personally do any business with Robinhood. If I'm going to buy my own stocks, I buy stocks in their wholes, not in their little fragmented pieces. You remember Robinhood was created essentially for millennials so that they could buy, because they don't have any money because they all have student loans so much that they can't even buy houses. So they couldn't even buy stocks very much. So they had to create Robinhood so they could buy fragments or pieces of stocks. Essentially, really, they're creating it for us all because the stock market has been driven up in price over the last few years due to money printing and making, just like houses so expensive, they've also made stocks very expensive. But I don't want to get into that today. I want to tell you something that I learned about Robinhood. So did you know that Robinhood sold all their trading information to hedge funds, and that those hedge funds receive it in real time just before the trades are actually placed? And those hedge funds, so if you know anything about hedge funds, you know that most hedge funds aren't managed by people, they're managed by machines or algos. They'll call them algos in the financial world. So they have algorithms written, and artificial intelligence is executing the trades as they want them made. They pick like where they would like a stock bought or where they would like a stock sold, and the AI carry out those stock trades on their behalf. So Robinhood was selling information of all the retail investor trades to hedge funds, and they were receiving that information, and still are, in real time just before, not after, but just before the trades are placed. And that the AI that are used by the hedge fund, that's artificial intelligence, AI used by hedge funds to analyze the information, and those AIs were actually able to execute trades just before they were settled, So I'm not even sure how that is legal. That seems to be the very essence of insider trading. So here's a little section I wanted to read for you. This is from Forbes magazine. Robinhood derives a large amount of value from its relationship with Citadel Securities in return for access to data, order data, so that's retail investor data. Robinhood has sold about 169 million of information in 2018. So this is the latest of the records we have in 2018, to give firms like Citadel Securities more information than is available to retail investors, specifically access to trade patterns a few milliseconds before they get filled. This was said to be about more than 40% of Robinhood's total revenue. So Robinhood is the Facebook of the investor world. You, my friends, are as much the product as the stocks themselves. So there's going to be an SEC probe into this, and it's got both parties semi-revved up about it. And so, needless to say, in this commentator's opinion, this may be the week. Speaking of this week, this may be the week that we all look back on years from now and say, here is where we decided to start changing our behaviors to thwart these oligarchs and globalists. One way we can do this is by investing in decentralized finance in the area of cryptocurrencies and the businesses that they create. This show does not give financial advice, and all steps one takes should be done through rigorous personal research. But if you do not want your savings to be printed into oblivion, and you want your assets protected from their short targeting and bad policies and government interventions, then it would behoove you then, citizen, to get your assets out of their reach. All right, perhaps you've been confused about how shorts work, meaning shorting stocks, how they work. Well, here is a normal person explaining how all these things work in normal person language. Let's close this. I'm going to play this out for you. It's a couple of minutes. We'll see you next week on the American Tradition when this is done.
So I have been seeing a lot of people online who are like, what is going on with the stock market? Is there anyone who can explain this in normal person terms? And so I decided I want to do that because I own stocks. So I have a pretty good understanding of the stock market. And from what I understand, there are these people who they have lots of money and they have hedges around their house, and they go to the market but it's like not a real market. It's it's metaphorical, but it's real. And they go, uh-oh, that that company is not doing well, so I'm gonna make it do worse. So they pull out some papers and they go, who wants to make a deal? They start making deals and they say, if this company's good, if it goes down, then I get money from you, and if it goes up, then I'll give you money. But they don't tell you that it's not going to go up. I mean, they will make it so it goes down. But then there was this online reading club that was like, oh, well, not today. We want hedges too. And so took they went into their bank accounts, and then they also went to the market, and they were like, bye of the company, and changed it a lot. And so now the initial people, the hedges, have to give, oh, they have to give their hedges, I think, to the other people. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.
And that is how hedge funds work, according to a normal person. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.